Hey all, it is Nikki. Welcome back to the channel to talk nano and candles. So it is kind of like a gross rainy day outside right now, which is fine because it's a perfect day for candle making. I made this candle 2 weeks ago as a test, a wick test, to make sure that the wicks that I bought would at least sort of get the job done once I added fragrance oil. I had to wait 2 weeks to let it cure. I really wanted to do it right. The last time I made a test candle, I only waited, I think, about a week, maybe a week and a half. That was probably fine, but I just wanted to make sure that the test was as accurate as it could be. So we've waited the full 2 weeks, and now it is time to test it. So all I need to do is trim the wick and light this thing, give it a few hours to see if the wick performs the way I want it to, and then I'll know if I can move forward with making my candles with the fragrance oil that I bought, which I am super, super excited about. I really wanted to be able to have these candles done by November because I'm theming them around my NaNoWriMo project. I really want to be able to burn these while I'm writing to sort of inspire me. So here's hoping that these wicks will be perfectly fine and I'll be able to move forward with the candle making today. Honestly, there are so many things that I need to be doing today. Candle making probably shouldn't be one of them, but I'm confident that I can squeeze it in between class and studying for my midterm later today. And on the plus side, I have already clocked some time on writing and plotting my NaNoWriMo project today because I was up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and couldn't get back to sleep, so I just wrote. So without further ado, I'm going to light this candle, go to class, and definitely find some time to talk about my nano project, how it's coming along, and whether or not I think I'm actually going to be ready for NaNoWriMo this year. Alright, I'm back. I just had to do a little online Latin class. So I have trimmed the wick, I have lit my candle, it seems to be cooperating. The wick seems to be working pretty well, actually. There's not a lot of flickering, doesn't seem to be smoking or mushrooming at all. Shout out to Erica from Memory Box Candle Company for teaching me what all these buzzwords actually mean. I'm planning, as long as this wick cooperates, I have more of these wicks that I'm planning to make my final candles with. And I would like to make 2 different sets because I have 2 different fragrance oils. They're both kind of like fall apple themed, but one is purely kind of sweet and the other one is a little muskier, has a little more of like a punch to it, which I love. Like, I think that one is honestly my favorite. For some reason, I just love those like smoky, musky, kind of like man scents. Anyway though, I'm excited about this because my nano project has sort of 2 main characters, one being Peter Pan and the other one being a girl of my own creation. And so I'm planning on dedicating one of the scents to each character. I'll give the sweeter one to my girl character just because I feel like it really matches her, and save the muskier one for my boy Pan. I think it's perfect because even though the story doesn't really mention autumn at all, for some reason I just associate him with autumn vibes in general, and these scents are both very fall themed. One of them is called Fallen Leaves, and you can really smell that scent that you get when you walk outside and the leaves are on the ground sort of like slowly decaying, but in that beautiful autumn way that is just so quintessentially fall. I'm just really excited about it. And honestly, even though this isn't writing or working on the project necessarily, I still sort of count it because it's inspiration. I mean, I'm not really as far along in the planning as I wanted to be, just there hasn't been as much time as I wanted. I haven't managed it as well as I should have. There's a lot of planning still to do. So things like this, making candles that are themed for my project, or even just working on vision boards, things like that, all sort of count in inspiring me and motivating me to work on this project and to keep going. And they help get the creative juices flowing, which is always extremely helpful and important for projects like this. Speaking of vision boards, I was actually planning on sending out some sneak peeks of a couple of them in my newsletter at the end of this week, Lord willing. So if you're interested in seeing just a little glimpse of some of my characters and the ideas that I have for them, feel free to subscribe to the newsletter at nikkiflorica.com. There's no spam, I promise. I only send out at most an email every month, but I don't think I'm going to do an email every month going forward. I'll just send out an email maybe every 2 months, every couple months, when I have something to sort of report. It's very chill. It's basically just a little hello from me every once in a while with some encouraging thoughts, maybe some updates on stuff that I'm working on. And it's also just a really big help and a really big support for me. So if you want to be part of that team, that would be absolutely amazing. I would love it. You can find the link to my website in the description below. So since this is the last week of PREPtober, I kind of want to get my goals in order, things that I want to accomplish before Nano actually starts. For one, I did finish Peter and Wendy again and again, absolutely fell in love with the story, but now I do want to finish Peter in Kensington Gardens before NaNoWriMo, just because a lot of the stuff that I want to incorporate into my retelling is derived from Peter in Kensington Gardens, which might be the more uncommon of the Peter Pan stories. People tend to be more familiar with the one that has to do with Wendy and Captain Hook and stuff, but Peter in Kensington Gardens is really sweet too, and so I really do want to get through that one before November 1st. And I'll probably end up rewatching Hook too, because as far as Peter Pan retellings go, you just can't top that one. I also want to have my plot as tight as possible before November 1st, especially at the beginning. Again, I haven't done as much planning or plotting as I was hoping to. I have like a rough shape for the story, but I really want my beginning to be as tight as possible so that I can start writing and then actively be working on outlining as the month goes, which is not a great system. I don't advise it, but it's just the way it turned out this month, and it's fine. I'm trying not to stress myself out too much. I know that it is supposed to be fun. This is just a project that I want to do. There's no pressure, there's no rush. If I don't complete my goal, it's fine. I'm trying to just put it in the Lord's hands and ask for His inspiration to use it to glorify Him, and as long as that happens, it's a success. That said, I am reconsidering my initial goal. I said originally that I want to complete a full draft by the end of NaNoWriMo, but I just really don't think that that's possible, especially with the holes that still need to be filled in this story. I think I'm going to still try for that for my own sort of personal goal, but for my official NaNoWriMo goal, I'm probably going to go for the still lofty but more attainable 50,000 words. And just out of curiosity, is anyone else feeling like this month kind of snuck up on them, like they didn't have as much time to prep as they wanted to? What kind of goals are you guys setting? Is anyone else changing their goal at the last minute, or are you sticking to it? I'm curious, let me know. So that is my last PREPtober update before NaNoWriMo begins next week. I hope that everybody's first day of NaNoWriMo goes swimmingly, and even if you're not participating in Nano this year, I just hope your week is full of words and productivity and blessings, no matter what. And now, to end on a happy and hopefully successful note, as long as it isn't a flop, which it could be, I'm not an experienced candle maker, let's finish with some candles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's getting you excited for NaNoWriMo because it's definitely inspiring me. Feel free to like and subscribe if you feel so inclined. It would totally make my day. And as always, do not forget to spend some time in the clouds today.